Hi everyone, it's Tuesday 18th of November and this coming Saturday are the trials for the Great Britain teams to go to the European Cross Country Championships on December the 14th in Portugal, and it's also the UK Cross Challenge course at Sefton Park, which is the traditional scene for these trials and this event. But there's also one other event just quickly going to mention, I'm not going to go into any details, and that's in the States because there's a clash with the National Collegiate Cross Country Championships Division 1. They're in Columbia, Missouri, and from my calculations the women start at 10:20 and the men at 11 o'clock, which are Eastern time, and so that makes 3:20 and 4 p.m. UK time, so after the Liverpool cross. Although I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to watch the NCAA champs live. They are on ESPN. There is a YouTube channel, NCAA Championships, where you can watch last year's race in full, but I don't think it was live at the time. But yeah, keep your eyes out on that, and it definitely doesn't seem to be screening live on Runner's Space or Flow Track this year. So yeah, bit of a pickle there to find out where you can watch it, although I'll be driving back from Liverpool, I think, about that time, so I won't be able to watch it anyway. So let's look at Liverpool. And if you want other previews, there's one on the Sunday podcast this week with Ollie Lunn and Matt Seddon, and I see You've Got to Go on Spotify and YouTube with Ben Patterson and Matt Stoney as there. I haven't listened to the latter yet. I will do. I assume they might go into the under-20s and under-23s more than I will. Well, I'm not really going to mention it too much. I'm just going to concentrate on the seniors as far as athletes are concerned. Just run through the timetable. The first trial race is the under 17 and 20 women at 12:15, followed by the same age group, the men, at 12:35, senior and under 23 women at 5 to 1, and then the senior men at 2 o'clock with the under 23s. And again, to add to a little bit of confusion, the under 23s will peel off early, and so it's really difficult to know what's going to happen, especially with the likes of Will Barnicoat, the reigning European champion in the under 23 race. How that's going to pan out, who knows. Last year David Stone got away with a little group at the front of the senior men's race and won the under 23s. But there you go. Anyway, just as a reminder, the results should be going live on FR Systems, and I think there'll be a live stream on British Athletics TV. That looks more than likely. They streamed last year. They streamed the Cardiff Cross Challenge a week or so ago. So that's on YouTube. So let's start with the women. And a bit like the men, I've listed 20 people who I feel, just quickly going through the entries, could be in the top 6 and have a chance of making the team. Last year it went Kate Axford won, Carrie Hughes, Sophie Tarver, Abby Donnelly, Izzy Fry, Jess Gibbon, Neve Briston-Hubbard and Sophie Wallace were the top 8 last year, and it looks like Sophie Wallace is the only one not to enter this year, which is intriguing. I've tried to categorise the 20 I've listed by A-listers, if you like, who got the reputation and on form should qualify, and possibly it's more likely they will on the women's side. That's the likes of Abby Donnelly, who's finished high up in the European champs, as has Jess Warner-Judd, but both of them are coming off a marathon. Abby Donnelly the end of October, Jess Judd in New York beginning of November. So who knows? They're on the entry list, so we shall see. And Kate Axford's the other A one, which, let's say, won last year and seems to be in really good form this year. But then there's plenty of others in there. There's Carrie Hughes, who was second last year. Holly Dixon, who won the short course trial at Cardiff recently. India Weir for second in the UK 5,000 metre champs. Izzy Fry, although she hasn't got much, well, she's got nothing since May in terms of races. Jess Gibbons coming back. She's a very reliable cross-country runner. And then we've got Neve Brisbane-Hubbard, seems in good form. She was pretty high up in the Cardiff Cross Challenge in both the mile and then came back and ran the longer race later. Phoebe Anderson, she's run for Great Britain in the European Champs before, but she's been in the USA. And then Poppy Tank, nothing since August for her. And Verity Ockenden is in there. She won the Great South Run in October, but so difficult because both in the men's and the women's, the preparation for this is completely different from people not racing at all for months to people racing very frequently. So your guess is as good as mine, but I will have a guess in a minute. I'll mention a few more that are in there. Amelia Quirk, Charlotte Dannant, Hannah Irwin, Lucy Jones from Herne Hill, very reliable, been in good form. Neve Brown coming back to her best from Aldershot. Sarah Astin, all of them have got a chance of making the Great Britain team, I would say, if they're at their best. And of course, when I say at their best, one of the difficulties this time of the year is avoiding illness as well as any particular niggles, etc. So there's a lot there to choose from. I'd probably, if I name 6, I'd probably go Abby Donnelly, Jess Warner-Judd and Kate Axford would go in there. And then I would think, Izzy Fry on form, Carrie Hughes on form, so it's that 5. One other. I might go Neve Brisbane-Hubbard to be fair, you know. So yeah, that. And if I chose them again tomorrow, they'd be completely different. As would the men, which is even more difficult. And I know some other people making predictions have missed some key names off from the list because it's just so widespread. Last year, Toma Tarragano won senior men's. He's in the States at the moment. He's not entered. Hugo Milner was second. He's not entered. So the first one from last year was Scott Beattie from Morpeth, who was third last year. Ellis Cross is Macau, Hocker teammate. He was fourth last year. He's not entered. Rory Leonard, who was fifth, again Team Macau, he is entered. Callum Johnson from Gateshead there, he was sixth last year. Alfie Manthorpe seventh, and Jacob Can was eighth last year. So what's that? 5 from last year's top 8 will be coming back to have a crack this year. But there will be some additions, some intriguing additions. And again, I've looked at those with the big reputations, the A-listers as I call them. And I would say the A-listers are Jack Kavanagh, who's prolific and serial winner, both on the road and cross country and on the track. He was second in the UK champs to Josh Kerr at 5,000 metres. He's entered, hasn't got much pedigree at this level of cross country, but he's been winning Surrey leagues as a canter. So you'd have him as probably an A-lister. Mohammed, last May race was his 2:08 London Marathon back in April. Then we've got Rory Leonard, who I've mentioned, the UK record holder at 10k on the road. Scott Beattie, who's run 13:04 for 5,000 metres, must be the quickest in the field at 5,000 metres. And Zach Mohammed, that's Mohammed's brother, who's generally at the front of these races if he enters. So they may be the A-listers, but there's plenty more there, and it's crazy when you look at it. Some of the pedigree of these guys. An AB type athlete, maybe Alfie Manthorpe, who ran 61:26, I think, for the Valencia half marathon relatively recently. Callum Elson's banging out some big mileage with Team Macau, and he seems also to have some pace, and he really gets after it when he believes he can achieve something. And he was a close-up second in the Cardiff Mile, which was the Euro trial for the relay team. Callum Johnson, great tactician on the cross country, always up there as well. Charlie Wheeler's in great form, has run a very fast 5,000 metres back in August, and also a very fast half marathon recently in Valencia. Jacob Can has been steaming through the cross country and road relay season, was fastest in the national road relays and the national cross country relays, and he was just behind Zach Mohammed at Cardiff just over a week ago. So put him in the mix. And there's James Kingston, who's medalled in the last 3 national cross country championships. Was below par last year, bit of tonsillitis beforehand, but he's qualified for the under-23 team last couple of times, now in the seniors. Richard Slade, national cross country champion, who beat James Kingston at Parliament Hill back in February. So, you could say they're all the AB guys, but there's others who come into it, if I haven't mentioned, like Andy Butchart. Well, I mean, what Andy Butchart is going to turn up. Back at his best, he would have been right up there at the front, but who knows. Angus McMillan, always very reliable in there. Cameron Allen, very aggressive runner. He ran really well, won the first leg at Mansfield in the national cross country relays. Bit of a dark horse maybe, but Charlie Brisley's been running really well this year, as Ed Buck, who won the Yorkshire Marathon, and he wasn't far off the pace at Cardiff in the UK Cross Challenge. Jamie Crowe from Scotland, perhaps not his best ever, like Andy Butchart, but if he gets it right, can be in the mix, as can Joe Hudson, who's shown really good form this autumn. Logan Rees was in top form back end of last winter. Can remember he beat James Kingston at the Leeds Cross Challenge, for example. So at his best, it's a bit of a dark horse, could get near the front. Omar Ahmed, better known as a road runner, but could surprise a few. Peter Malloy, who had a cracking run at Liverpool last year, was third under 23 from Western Tempo. Give him a shout. And Scott Sterling's also in there, although he hasn't shown a great deal of form recently. He has also been on Great Britain teams. So it's 23 people I think I've mentioned on the men's side, and I wouldn't count any of them out entirely myself, but there you go, I expect you will. Hopefully I haven't missed any of the main contenders. If I had to call it, 6 in any order. I think Zach Mohammed's shown form. Jacob Can has shown great form. Jack Kavanagh is, as I say, very reliable. So that's 3. Oh, Scott Beattie, Rory Leonard, that's 5. And yeah, maybe Callum Johnson is 6. And I'm deliberately not mentioning James Kingston because he's Tunbridge AC, and yeah, I'm Tunbridge AC and completely biased, and so I'm going to leave him out of it and just see what happens on the day. But top 4 get automatic selection, then there's 2 discretionary places. I think maybe Toma Tarragano might be up for running the Europeans coming back from the States, but it really depends how he gets on in the NCAAs, because when you look at that list of 23 people, he's not clearly ahead of loads of those. It might mean, or it might depend on what the gaps are like. I would assume if the selectors go to discretionary places. And I've only left Mohammed out of the top 6 because he's got no form since the London Marathon. So yeah, Great race. I don't know if it's ever been this open. Last year created some surprises, and I'm sure there's going to be some surprises this year. I see it's going to be about 8-9 degrees now on Saturday after a cold spell this week, and I suspect it's going to be pretty boggy again, and there could be some rain on Saturday, which it absolutely tipped down last year for the senior races. So there you go. That's what I've got. Be interesting to see how that compares to what others come up with and what the actual results are. And I hope to see quite a few of you out there. Looking forward to it.